Actually, no, I don't want to do it at all.
Man, you're so unreliable, Morgan.
There's just so much pressure. I mean, I feel like we're being watched or something, you know?
Well, we kind of are.
I just can't deal with it.
Well, actually, not from over there, but
pretend nobody's
over here
watching and just speak from the heart.
Yeah, from the heart. Uh-huh.
Will, why don't you take over here? All right, we're going to pinch hit.
Welcome to another brand new exciting edition of Comics Should Smell Good. We've got some aromatically beautiful new comics for you to sample this week. And we have some special guest stars behind us. Cool new stand-ups for your pleasure of, if you can't get enough of the comics, you could just hang out with them and say, hey, well, can you believe this happened at this issue? I'm going to kick it off with, you got to have faith, fly like faith. Spinning out of the Harbinger Renegades, this is Faith Herbert, also known as Zephyr. What's cool is, it's kind of cool that Valiant takes a hero who kind of like, how do I say this politically? She isn't what she breaks the stereotypes, and she's just a fun, cool character who loves being a superhero, and it's also just a lot of fun. So this is a 6-issue miniseries. Faith is flying over the City of Angels, protecting puppies and kids and beating up bullies, but there's a huge, bigger threat. That can she handle it? Of course she can, because she's one of the coolest heroes of Valiant. Faith #1 this week. There you go.
Yeah, I always knew her as the one that actually smiled on the covers when I was digging through the old issues of Harbinger and Value Village and places like that. Everyone else was pretty grimacy.
And she was like, I like being a superhero.
But it was the 90s. I think you had to grit your teeth.
Exactly. This is true. There were a lot of cut-off shirts, too. Trucker hats.
Yeah.
Series had a great
aesthetic. So Morgan's going to now put on a big faith-like smile to say, I love talking about comics.
Yeah, especially when I've got the face of America right behind me here. That is just intimidating, to say the least. But another big Marvel book, one starring one of our guest stars, actually. Deadpool and Cable, split second. This is the second of 3 issues, bringing the Marvel Infinite comic to print for us, and reuniting the team of Fabian Nicieza and Riley Brown, as well as a team of Deadpool and Cable, who have been apart for many years, but they have recently been put back together over in Uncanny Avengers, and this is just sort of a, not so much continuation, but a, side reunion to that. They don't quite reference it, or at least they haven't yet. I feel like they might talk about it maybe in the last issue or something. I don't know. But they're time traveling. Why? For the sake of one man. Carl Weathers. Not that Carl Weathers, but another Carl Weathers.
I was in with that.
A scientist named Carl Weathers. Dr. Carl Weathers. He just, no relation,
Okay.
It's one of those Deadpool things, Deadpool things.
For my first pick this week, Bat-Manga! During the craze of the Batman heyday, it took over not only America, but the Japanese airwaves as well. It was on Fuji TV, as they tell you many times in here. This is The Astounding Adventures by Jiro Kuwata. This is volume 3. I think this is the last one, actually. Yep. But you have things like The Crimes of Planet King and Duel in Space, where it kind of got some Gilbert Hernandez monsters in space trying to beat up Batman and Robin. But this is really fantastic stuff. I love the Bat-Manga. If you want Batman and you're bored of all the regular Batman, this is the Batman for you.
Cry Havoc and Let's Slip the Dogs of War. This is one of our most anticipated new comics of 2016 on comicsblend.com. This is a brand new image book from Simon Spurrier, who you may remember, he did the X-Men Legacy book starring Legion, and then he did kind of a weird kind of I think it was the last version of X-Force that had Cable and Psylocke
that Cyberpunk one?
Did he do that one? Yeah. He did that one, and he's got Ryan Kelly as his artist, and he's got a huge team of colorists to tell different chapters of this story. It's got demon dogs, it's got hyenas, it's got a werewolf woman, it's militaristic, it's fun, it's cool, it's horrific, and it's some beautiful art in here. Just look at that, for example. So, cool new Cry Havoc, brand new image, kind of horror, mystical, gothic, kind of cool action book for you. There you go.
Yeah, and Cry Havoc actually has something else you won't find in many other books this week, except maybe Island, wolf boners. But anyways, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about one of my favorite books from Image that's returning this month. One of many, actually, that's coming off the hiatus in January. Southern Bastards. Jason Latour is finally back drawing this after Chris Chris Brunner? Yeah, Chris Brunner did that last issue with the Kung Fu Chicken. That was some weird stuff.
Amazing. Chris
that
Brunner,
was like
love Chris
whole nother level of weirdness. But this is the big game right here. The Runnin' Rebs versus Wetumpka County. And Coach Boss is not happy. His defensive coach has recently committed suicide.
Oh.
Although he will not admit that it was a suicide. And there are certain actors in the city who look to bring down Coach Boss. Strangely enough, you'd think after he clubbed that guy's skull in with a piece of a tree, people would have stopped doing that, but no, there's treachery afoot for sure. Really, really amazing work by the Jasons here, as always.
From new comics publisher Aftershock, who's really been pulling together some really good talent. They got Roberto De La Torre, Amanda Connor, Justin Jordan doing this, as well as Juan Gedeon. Juan Gedeon did the recent Ghost Racers miniseries, which was very cool. Enjoyed that a lot. And Justin Jordan, of course, bringing you the Strode. But the Strode pays no money, so he has to do other comics. And this one is kind of post-apocalyptic, kind of got a bit of a James Herron Rumble feel. Has this dude who would give Warblade hand blades a run for his money. I mean, genuinely some Jim Lee 90s stuff right here. But we're talking lots of big monster fighting action, bubblegum chewing, ass kicking. Ooh, magical bubblegum. And all sorts of other cool magiciness. But yeah, very excited to see new stuff from Aftershock. And yeah, hopefully more from this publisher very soon.
Old Man Logan #1 this week. Old Man Logan escaped from his future. He is the great Mark Millar epic story in which the villains took over the world. You had Monster Hulks. You had Wolverine, who was restricted to killing the X-Men. So because of Secret Wars, he went kind of back in time, and now he's in the New President. You'll also see him in this week's Extraordinary X-Men, also by Jeff Lemire. But this is Jeff Lemire reteaming with his Green Arrow partner, Andrea Sorrentino, to tell the story of Logan when he's not with the Extraordinary X-Men. This is what happens, kind of picks up right after the moment he arrives in our new reality, the all-new, all-different Marvel now after Secret Wars. And he is ready for some revenge. He's got a lot of scores to settle. And he's not going to be probably telling Storm about what he's doing in this book. So, lots of action. If you definitely you're more of a kind of Clint Eastwood, kind of Pale Rider, kind of Logan, Old Man Logan, Wolverine, this is the one for you.
And speaking of the whole post-apocalyptic redo on a hero theme, I've got a new storyline over here in Bloodshot Reborn. This is the Analog Man.
I love that title.
Right?
That's really cool.
Right?
I dig that. I feel like that has been used before. It had to be, but it works really well.
No,
there was the Lawnmower Man.
Are plenty of new ideas out there.
Really?
No, but this is taking Bloodshot, who apparently something must have happened between the few issues at the beginning of the series that I read and this one, because this is 30 years later. After he's settled down, he's an old man. He's got a wife named Magic. Everything is all Mad Max's desert future, and he's got to take his big oil rig that he has hidden in a mountain with a hologram out to this giant city complex to get some water, because even in the future we still need water to survive. And then he gets besieged by a gang of Shadow Men, who are basically the War Boys from Mad Max, except with Shadow Man face paint. I don't know if they have actual Shadow Man powers, or if they just are patterned after him or what, but it's pretty awesome. And even as an old man, he still, I guess has the nanites in him, which I swear I thought, got taken out of him, but I really don't know. I haven't been reading the series, but this is awesome, honestly. Jeff Lemire, of course, writes this one, too. Wow, writing two...
He writes everything.
He's got 3 books out
this week. At least 3 books this week.
That's intense. And it's also drawn by Louis LaRosa, who did the first story arc on this book before Raoul Allen did a few issues.
It was so good. Yeah. He's doing that Eternal Warrior series. So good. Obey the Fist! That's right. Zim is back. And I know that you can never get enough Zim. Never, never, never. The TV show will sadly never come back. But... we have Jonan Vasquez writing new comics with Eric Trueheart and a host of artists, bringing you the new adventures of Dib, Gur, Zim, and Gaz, who unfortunately is just always kind of there, but usually she at least gets to play video games. Yeah, it's really fun. The style is actually really close to the show, and it's genuinely about the best you're going to get. $20, first 5 issues, Invader Zim.
All new, all different Avengers. This is the fallout from the first big arc from Mark Waid, which they fought the Chitauri.
Oh God, they brought those in there, really?
The Warbringer. But remember when the Avengers were hanging out in a mansion and a tower? Well, they really kind of downgraded, but they still have their fighting spirit and lots of good team building here. In fact, there's lots of good team building here. What's going on with Sam Wilson and Jane Foster? They're feeling the super love. So a little bit of, after all the action, a little bit of like, there's still plenty of action, but there's lots of romance. And this is also building up to what's going to happen when Ms. Marvel gets kicked out. Plus, if you want this, you can also read it as you're hanging out with your very own Sam Wilson, Captain America back there.
Where
Morgan
are
is
the
very
Avengers
unnerving.
living right now, actually?
Well, that would give
Are
it
they in a
away.
flat or
You
something?
will find out if you get this issue.
All right.
Because they were so busy in the first arc fighting the Chitauri, now they've kind of settled, okay, this is their new headquarters, what's up with Jarvis and all the other...
Isn't Tony still in there?
Tony's still in there, but Tony, as we've
He just
learned...
doesn't give a crap.
Well, he's not the same. He's not as rich as he used to
He
be.
still drives a convertible. He has
He's
a
not as
Zanadu
rich
army.
as That's like saying Steve Jobs has got
Exactly.
a little less money.
He's not Michael Bloomberg rich. I guess he's Trump rich now.
Oh,
so,
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right, and speaking of people
First world
who are
problems.
a bit down on their luck, not so much swimming in the money, I've got a new issue of Vertigo's... I was going to say most Vertigo-y book these days, but I say that about everything, and by everything I mean Art Ops, but this is not Art Ops, which also has an issue out right now.
Yeah, new Art
This
Ops
is
week.
Last Gang in Town, written by Simon Oliver, drawn by Rufus Dayglow, who's drawn a whole lot of Tank Girl. This book has some serious Brit pedigree in it, I guess. It's really good, though. It blew me away. Honestly, reading that first issue, I was like, okay, well, you know, Rufus Dayglow's done Tank Girl, I like Tank Girl, I'll give it a shot. And the man can cartoon better than most cartoonists in the business these days. Like, he really, I don't know, the exaggeration of characters, but the ability to also get, crazy amounts of detail in there.
There's a lot going on in those pages.
Yeah, it's it really feels like something that would have been, in good Mad Magazine, when they had, comics and Mad.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It takes place in a few different time periods. There's the 70s where they're trying to reinvent crime. There's this woman who shows up to sort of, you know, pull the rug out from underneath the Blue Bloods and sort of shake things up a bit again. And then you've got her in the future looking back on everything, and it's a really interesting narrative. And I don't know where it's gonna go, which is honestly something that is so rare in comics these days.
And a big return from Image. January does see a lot of things coming back. The least of which is Prophet, Earth War. This was supposed to be out a year ago, maybe? I don't know. But that's okay, we wait. Brandon Graham, Simon Roy, Yanni Melodiani bring you the further and final adventures of one of the many clones of John Prophet. In fact, I can't even remember how many of the clones are alive. I don't know if they all survived.
Man, they're all clones.
Well, no, the
They're
main
all
ones.
prophets.
The main ones that were going, the four ones that were in the story. But yeah, this is definitely, because the last arc kind of just stopped, and this is the beginning of the final giant war against the Earth Empire. Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know, other than you need to read Prophet if you haven't read the stuff before this. It's freaking amazing. But yes, very excited for Prophet to return.
There's a movie coming out this year that you may have heard a little something about. It's called The Suicide Squad. And yes, it's got Joker, and yes, it's got Harley Quinn, but it's also got some awesome characters. Deadshot, super... Hello?
Is that a diss on Joker and Harley Quinn?
No, I'm just saying, Joker's no, it's not a diss. They get all the limelight.
Right, people are going to go see them anyway.
People are going to go see them no matter what. But you should check it out for Deadshot and Katana. There's some of the coolest. And this is a spin-off called Suicide Squad's Most Wanted. Deadshot, awesome assassin. He's caught up in this. So you get two stories in one big comic book. And he's got cyborgs, other kind of heroes, lots of government conspiracies. And then Katana versus a whole nation of Cobra, which is... I'm not talking about Cobra Commandos yet. I'm talking about the whole cult. The whole cult. So lots of great character. Brian Bucciolato?
Bucciolato?
Yeah, you got it. Anyway.
No, Bogdanovich. Oh, no, and Bucciolato. Oh, yeah.
The guy who worked on Flash and then Detective Comics, he was really cool. Anyway, and then Mike Barr. They're part of the team of characters.
Oh, they got Mike
creators
Barr?
who are working on all these cool characters, some classic villains from the DC universe.
Oh, it's me then.
It's you.
I think it's the last one, yeah?
Woo!
Uh-oh. All right.
Last comic I have for you here. This man over here mentioned Gilbert Hernandez earlier, one of the famed Los Bros Hernandez, creators of Love and Rockets, various Dark Horse titles. He's got a lot of great standalone graphic novels out there. He's responsible for the Palomar stories, which are honestly some of like the most affecting graphic novels in the world. But during the downtime, while he's waiting for his brother to finish his comics, he likes to have fun. And that's what Blubber is.
Fun.
I don't really know how I can describe the content of this, so why don't we just run the images? Yeah. Okay.
Kinda? Yeah, if you're under 18, like, look away a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just look to the left,
just
maybe.
you can end the video right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that?
But, if you like strange, dirty, creepy, and very, very unsettling things, you could come farther and entice, maybe flip through it while you're at the store. But we're not responsible if you just keel straight over at that moment.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
the
not-
kid's gone?
I think so.
Run it! Oh. Oh!
Oh!
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't show that.
And honestly, those pictures aren't even from this issue. The first one was tame compared to what's in here.
There are no pictures on the internet from that issue.
And there shouldn't be. There really shouldn't be. Like, you can show a lot of things on the internet, but you should not be allowed to show this.
Yeah, after Morgan looked through it, he was like, I'll never be surprised again. But then, of course, the internet happened, and what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But, so we leave you with that. Definitely come in
Uplifting.
and to at least check out the Blubber. You know, you don't have to leave with the Blubber. That's okay. That's another commitment. But, yeah. Anyway, thank you all again for watching, and we hope to see you today for shiny new comic books.